Welcome back to A Little View, the podcast where the perspective may be small, but the conversations are anything but small. And I'm Gwen, your podcast host, a soon to be dietitian, a health coach, and advocate. Today we have a guest named Nora. I never actually met Nora. I've seen her at a national convention last year, but other than that, I've never actually met her. How I kind of started connecting with her is there was a Facebook post she posted about nutrition, and someone actually screenshotted it and sent it to me. This woman talks at conventions. You should start doing that too. And you should reach out to her and ask her for advice. And then once we started talking, we had some things in common, how we approach nutrition, that has a passion about nutrition, but does it in more of a holistic, natural way. I want to give the microphone over to Nora for a minute and let her introduce herself.
Thank you, Gwen, and thanks for having me. It's so crazy that I haven't met you in person because I feel like I know you really well just from all the times that we've talked, so that's crazy. But a little bit about me. My name's Nora Giannetti. I'm 21 years old. I'm from Southampton, Massachusetts. I am a junior right now at UMass Amherst, 2 hours west of Boston. I'm in school right now for OIM, Operations and Information Management, basically the data analytics side to business. But I'm also the president of our sales club in sales, which is really cool and fun. But I also have a really big passion for nutrition. I've done that on the side for a little bit. I'm not currently doing it right now, just because school is kind of taking over my life. I love going to the gym, love getting outside.
First of all, I didn't know you were 21. I feel like you present yourself way older than 21, but that's a
Yeah.
good thing. Not saying you're old.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
But so going back a little, you said you're in school. I have to start my master's, so I totally get when school overrides everything. But
Yeah,
you
it's crazy.
helping clients, um, what kind of got you into this in the beginning?
I think for me, what got me into helping clients is I was really influenced on Instagram, to be completely honest, and seeing all the health and wellness coaches. And I was like, I want to do something like that. So I took a course online, got certified as a nutrition coach, and then I was like, okay, what now? So then I started taking on clients, which I've only worked with older people, so people older than 40, to say the least. But I mean, it's been a great experience overall and just great learning experience for me, but also to be able to help them and give them advice was a lot of fun. But I really just got into it because I realized how much nutrition and just health and wellness played a role in my life. So I wanted to be able to help others, especially those who don't fully understand it. Because I feel like as a whole, nutrition can get complicated really fast. And there's so many false statements out there and so many untrue things or so many things that we learn at young ages that just poorly shape our relationship with food as a whole. And so I wanted to be able to help people with that and help people reframe their mindsets to be able to approach nutrition as something that's supporting your body and supporting your life rather than being a negative. I guess if that makes sense.
For sure. Yeah, I totally agree. Like you said, I think there's so many. First of all, everyone and their mom now on social media is a doctor, and they all have advice and they all know about everything.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. My
so
Instagram feed is filled with it right now.
exactly. So it doesn't make it any easier. And then someone new coming in trying to figure out nutrition or trying to be healthier, and they're like, wait, what? The first place says don't eat this, then eat this, don't eat this. It makes it really confusing. So I feel like someone like you who not only has a passion for it, but has a little more background on it makes it a little more easier. And I know for me personally, I wanted to help people with nutrition and food and all that just because I struggled with it some. Well, not some, a lot. Do you think some of your passion, do you think you've ever struggled with it, or some of your passion stemmed from having struggles with food, or no?
Well, absolutely. That's kind of where it all started, I guess. I struggled a lot when I was in high school, so between ages of 15 and 18 and maybe even into 19 too. But I feel like as I've gotten older and I've really learned a lot and learned about what best supports my body and how I best function. I think a lot of my struggles stemmed from, well, when I was in high school, and I feel like a lot of young girls, especially being in high school, I feel like a lot of people struggle with food.
Yeah.
To an extent, I know that there was a lot of people around me at that time that did struggle, and I think that um, did play a role in different things that I viewed or different things that I went through. I had really bad body image, really low self-esteem during that time too, and I think for me, a big thing was being a little person, like when you go out in public, you're stared at all the time. And I think having like that in my mind, that also like when I was in high school, like and constantly like having that in my mind when I'd go out in public and be like, everyone's looking at you, I think that just made it worse. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
No, for
Um,
sure.
so it really just kind of it really took a health risk to kind of change things and turn things around to an extent. Yeah, I would say yeah, it took a little health risk to kind of turn things around. And that's when I was like, okay, I have to like fix this. Like I can't keep going down this road. And I need to do better for myself because it wasn't healthy. And that's when I started like realizing that like nutrition was there to like fuel me and it wasn't the enemy and neither was food and I needed to really fix my relationship with that. So that's kind of where like that all started and like it was a very, very, very long road to figure it out and figure out what worked. But now I'm much more comfortable in a place where I'm very happy with who I am. And a lot of that is just because of the work that I've done over the past couple of years. And I'm kind of going on a ramble a little bit, but I would say that's really what stemmed it was I did struggle a lot, but I also didn't know what proper nutrition was.
Yeah. I think something that's which we might get into a little further on, but like I think something that's not exactly talked about in LPA is yes, most women struggle, especially in their teens, women struggle, but I think a lot of mine had to do with the fact that I'm not to say this bad because I it's made me who I am today, but I think because I didn't like being a little person so much and I felt so out of place being the only person in my family as a little person and then also just having all the attention on me constantly that it was like okay, if they're going to look at me, at least they're going to look at me by my size, my like width wise, or they're going to compliment me. So, like, that's much better than saying, like, oh my gosh, you're so short. But then it's like a way to control the way I look, per se, or because I felt so out of control with everything. So yeah,
Mhm.
I definitely feel like that's kind of lacking in that area.
Oh, absolutely. And I completely agree with what you're saying. Like, we can't control our height, so we try to control other external factors and try to control what people may view us or think of us as. It's not the right frame of mind to be in. And this kind of goes into like a completely different topic of like society and little
Yeah.
people and all of that stuff, which we don't have to get into that today. But because I'll talk about that forever. But no, I completely agree.
So when you like talk to clients or whatever, and I know in your program that you took online, it was talking about like calories. I thought, what is that like kind of what you're like, is that what you talk about? Or no, not like that?
No, I'm not. Yes and no. Like calories definitely have their place in somebody's nutrition plans and goals. And I think, and this is like an unpopular opinion, but I think to an extent it's good to be aware of how much generally like you should be eating to support whatever phase of life you're in. But at the same time, your life shouldn't revolve around calories and numbers.
Yeah.
So I didn't have my client track.
Yeah.
And the only reason was because I wanted things to be based on how they felt.
Yeah.
And because ultimately, when you feel good, you're going to be making decisions at the same time that's like supporting your body. Like, your body is like so incredibly smart
Yeah.
in terms of like what you need and how you feel. Being able to understand like the cues that your body's giving you of like what you feel like you need in the moment. Like, if you're really like obviously being able to like create a balanced plate is one thing, and that's something that you kind of learn mentally and like you figure out of like how to best support yourself. But like your body will tell you when you're not hungry anymore
Yeah.
and your body will tell you when you are hungry. And so rather than relying on a specific number to hit or a number to stay below, rather than like just doing what feels good
Yeah.
and doing, and like that also pertains to like what the food is too. I took a very holistic approach to it
Yeah.
and really base things around like eating whole foods, eat like prioritizing protein in most of your meals and really making sure that like
Yeah.
and really like try to find like that comfortable level of like what feels good and how you can like best support yourself. I guess if that makes sense.
For me, when I've seen people track, it's kind of sending a negative connotation because then, okay, well, I can only eat this because there's so much of this instead of like you said, like it's how you feel while you're eating it or like how your body feels after eating it. When I have sugar, it makes my body like hurt really bad. Instead of like, okay, this is only 10 calories, like I can have it. But then I think we kind of like both said it just in different ways, but I think it's more important to focus on the quality of the food instead the quantity. So I work at a smoothie bar and people will be like, I want the smoothie with the lowest calories. It's like, okay, but that's not the healthiest one.
Exactly. It's also not what's going to satiate you too in that moment. If you always go for like the lowest calorie, low fat, low sugar option, you're ultimately not going to be satiated, and then you're just going to keep like eating throughout the day to
Yeah.
fulfill that empty craving or like that craving that you never satiated, rather than satiating it and making and filling your body with like the nutrients and support that it needs in that moment.
What's like your biggest advice you tell clients?
My biggest advice,
The one big thing you always tell clients.
I'd say never feel bad for eating something.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something I was repeating myself a lot of like I would say that's a really big one. It's really just for me and really what I preach is you can eat whatever you want. It's not that deep.
Mhm.
In the end, it's not. Like eat a cookie if you want a cookie. Like it's not that deep. Eat some carrots if you want carrots. Like ultimately like your body's going to tell you what feels good. Your body's going to react if eating 10 cookies doesn't feel good. Like and it was more so giving my clients like the support that they needed while they were figuring that out. I guess if that makes sense.
And you don't write like obviously meal plans, right? Or do you?
I can't. I could give general advice.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
So I can give ranges like based on their body's metrics. In general, like if they want to know how much protein they should be eating in a day, I can give them that range. I can give them recipe ideas and like
Yeah.
meal inspiration and different things. I couldn't do was do like a structured meal plan, like
Yeah.
Monday through Friday, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This is what you're eating and this is how much.
People have asked, or like,
Like
how many
that's like
calories should I eat? Again, that differs every day, kind of like what you said. Like, it depends on like what stage of life you are in. So,
stemming off of that too. What's so hard for little people in general is there's no nutrition advice out there for little
no.
people. That's honestly where I struggled the most is I read one article online and it's probably still the only article out there. And it said for little people, they should eat anywhere from like, I think
Oh,
it was
yeah.
1,000 to 1,400 calories a day.
Yeah.
And if you want to lose weight, eat like 400 less. That's insane.
I read something like that too.
And
And
also BMI and like the BMI charts that are out there for little people, like those are not accurate either.
it's really not that hard. And like, okay, eat whole foods. Like, yes, occasionally eat this or that. But like for the most part, just eat whole foods. It's not that hard. But then what like messes with people's heads is like, okay, yeah, so since we're a little person, we need to eat like 1,400 calories or whatever. But like at the same time, whoever's reading that is most likely an adult. And like just because you're shorter doesn't mean you have just because you're shorter doesn't mean you should be eating a substantially amount less. Like you are a full grown adult, especially for women. Like you're a full grown adult. You still need to be eating like not like a peasant.
No, exactly. I completely agree. And I think that's where like the more advanced technologies are really cool of like the full body scanners. They're actually really cool of like really seeing like what your body's like needs are based on like all of these different metrics. It's really cool. But I guess like for little people like it's easy to like look at like one specific number and be like, "Okay, I'm only eating 1,000 calories a day," which like 1,000 for little people are is it's way too low. I can't give a general number because everybody like people are so different in terms of height, especially when it comes to like dwarfism. There's people who are on like the shorter side, like me, like I'm 3'10". There's also people on the taller side who are like 4'10". And so everybody's needs are different, but I do understand to a certain extent that because we are shorter, we do need to eat, I guess, somewhat less.
Yes, I agree because it's not like you should be eating an abundantly amount, just finding a little more happy medium. Once
Yes.
you're done with school, do you either want to do nutrition counseling on the side or do you want to like add that in somehow to your work?
See, I honestly have no idea. I love sales in like the sales industry right now. Between what I do in our sales club and what I do in my job right now, I think career-wise, I'll probably head down that route. Um, but I like nutrition is my passion. So I would definitely love to keep it as a passion project. I'm not sure what that looks like yet, but it's definitely something that I will continue to do. Like I would love to continue to advocate for it more from the little for a little person standpoint and advocating for like little people community.
At the same time, it's just people in general
Mhm.
because it's essential for everyone. Food is essential for everyone. So kind of figuring out or helping them navigate what exactly is best for them and their needs is the most important. So, like I said, I thought it was really cool on Facebook that you talked about nutrition. And can you tell us a little more about how, like, what you did per se, or what you did exactly at a convention to help people?
Yeah, what I did was very general, very broad. I did it at one of our regionals. I just gave a little workshop. It was like 30 minutes, maybe an hour long, just kind of a presentation, but then it turned into a whole group discussion of wellness tips and how people can fuel their best life and live their best life while making like nutritionally conscious choices. So it was just catering conversation to everybody, but a lot of it was just giving general advice, the importance of whole foods, the importance of macronutrients, micronutrients, and kind of diving into of what things mean, or how to understand what a food label means. A lot of it was just general advice, where to start and action steps that people can take to kind of go from there.
Did you hear a response from it after? Like, have you helped any little people? Not to keep bringing up the fact about little people, but have you helped any little people? And did you get like a good response from it?
From that, I wasn't really looking to take on more clients. I was doing it more from I wanted to have some experience presenting. I love presenting and public speaking, and I love my district, so it was really nice that I was able to do that. So I did it more as like an education thing rather than a gaining clients thing. I haven't worked with little people one-on-one. All the people I've worked with have been average height. I'm my own guinea pig when it comes to trying different things.
That's really cool. Like, I think that says something about you as just a person, not looking for money, but just generally wanting to help people. Would you do it again?
Oh, absolutely.
Would you do it
Ab-
on a bigger scale or no?
Absolutely.
What are some pieces of advice today that you could give to people?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the biggest pieces of advice would be to really prioritize whole foods. Whole foods are some of the best things for your body. Whole foods being fruits, vegetables, grains that haven't been through much processings like rice. And protein is super important. So prioritizing protein, and even if you don't eat meat, finding healthier alternatives to that, whether that's tofu, beans, chickpeas, legumes, like different things that can really just like boost your protein intake. Protein is great for muscle building and especially for little people, supporting our muscles. Our joints are under a lot of different strain because of our compact bodies. So making sure that we're really supporting our muscles and joints with proper nutrients it needs is really important. Check in how hungry you are and kind of check in and see that if based on what you have going on that day or what activity you're about to do right after you eat, is the meal that you're eating going to support you through that? Do you need more carbohydrates because you're going to go on a really long run or a really long hike and you need those carbs for quick energy? Are you going to go sit in meetings so you need something higher in protein so you can stay satiated throughout, and keep those energy levels high to be able to participate? Different things like that. And then check in with yourself throughout the meal. Make sure that like you're just present in yourself. I know for me personally, I'm always on the go. So really making sure that you just sit down and you just give yourself a break to just eat and relax so your food properly gets digested. And then check in with yourself after. Eat until you're no longer hungry. It's okay to not finish everything on your plate. I guess like my last big thing is live by the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time focus on those whole foods and 20% allow yourself to eat those fun foods. Eat a cookie, eat ice cream, eat those fun things in your life.
Totally agree with that. Well, thank you so much, Nora, for sharing your insights today. And I loved hearing about your journey with nutrition and how you have made such an impact with your clients. I think everyone listening has learned a lot and has something to put in their pocket for later on.
Yeah, and I had a lot of fun in this conversation.
Thanks for listening to a Little View podcast. Make sure to subscribe for more episodes and follow me on Instagram at a little view podcast.com or a little view podcast. Can't wait to see you next time. Bye.